Hello, dwellers of the internet, welcome back. Today we are going to be talking about school system teaching flaws as represented in the category that I wrote down for myself about a month ago when I was drunk off my ass and writing down categories for me to speak about, which is honestly the most fun way to do this. I think of categories when I'm in the right mindset to write down that I should speak about later, and then once I do have the opportunity and once I do come across the category that I do, of which I need to be talking about, then not only do the ideas of which I was thinking about beforehand come to me once again, but new ideas that are sparked just from hearing the premise of the topic, or the situational aspects and the context to which this topic can be applied to. And it sounds fun. It sounds interesting to me. Now, this topic in particular, I know for a fact I was drinking and possibly already drunk when I had come up with it, and I was talking about the flaws in the school system, which is a major complaint of mine that I will mention on a regular basis if it comes up in conversation, if anybody wants to talk about the school system. Now, whether or not that plays a part into my adolescent psyche, or whether or not I hold a grudge against the school system for my own personal experiences, will be sort of wafted and brushed to the side for now. What I want to talk about specifically, just from the introduction of this topic, is the inherent flaws in the school system, which are apparent. We have a basic curriculum. We have math, science, English, and history. Right? Those are the four basic subjects in elementary school, in middle school. Granted, this is in America. I don't want to speak for other countries. Just to clarify, we have math, English, science, and social studies in elementary school. Social studies eventually becomes history. It weaves into itself eventually. I don't know why the fuck they call history social studies, first of all. What do you mean social studies? Is that for the kids? Are you calling it social studies because they don't know what history is yet? Are you calling it social studies because they're more likely to know what social interaction is, and the word social, definitively what the word social means before history? I don't fucking know. I haven't looked this up. It's probably there's probably a good reason behind it. There's probably an extremely stupid reason behind it. If you have the answer, leave a comment. Yeah, go ahead and do that. Why not? Anyways, we have these four subjects. We listen to them repeatedly, over and over again. We do countless pages, countless amounts of homework pertaining to these subjects throughout elementary school and middle school, and then even further on into high school, before college, where we can choose our own specialized sort of focus of academic achievement. But anything beforehand, all throughout your life, when you are attempting to get high school diploma, you are forced to learn these four core subjects alongside a slew of different extracurricular activities, sports, other academic subjects that just so happen to be placed alongside these other main subjects as part of your specific school system curriculum. I don't know. It gets convoluted depending on what school you go to. But the point I'm trying to make here, or the point I want to try to make here anyway, is that the school system has flaws. Now, granted, when I was, like I said, I was drinking when I wrote down this subject as something to talk about. I believe that I would need to actually write a script to attempt to even remotely convince anyone of the flaws in the school system and to actually generate a coherent point to try to get through to some of you numbskulls who can't, think for yourselves kind of thing. I would have to turn this topic into a full-on analysis which left no room for any kind of, criticism that could object to my point kind of thing. And, God, personally, I believe that's a little bit too much work. And, not too much work for the channel, and not too much work for artistic vision. I'm not saying that it's unnecessary. But what I am saying is that it is unnecessary to prove my point, which is why I'm even acknowledging this letter to myself as a subject worth talking about, because I believe that only the mere mention of it can elicit some strong pointed responses. For one, the fact that we have these 4 core subjects and we never learn, just off the top of my head, how to do your taxes. How to do your taxes is it's a state and national obligation. It is something you have to do to remain within the legal parameters of your country. In the United States, anyway. I can only speak for my country, but this is what we do to maintain not only a financial presence in our country, but to remain within the legal parameters of our operations, of funds being spent. Whether or not you're being paid money back for overspending, or whether or not you owe money to the government for not spending enough. It is a legal parameter that must be adhered to. And this is not taught to us in school. This is never even mentioned in school. It's not present within any curriculum except for economics. And this class, never mind, this class is required. Okay, alright, you know what? I fucked up. I thought it was an elective. I assumed it was an elective, but I remember now. If you do not take economics by your senior year, you can't graduate high school. I don't know if this is the case everywhere, but for me personally, I had to take economics, otherwise I couldn't graduate high school, and I had to pass economics. Now, granted, this is 1 semester of 1 year, 1 class that you have to pass to graduate high school. Just one thing. This is just one aspect. I'm not done with this argument. So, this is... So, in order for you to gain the proper amount of second language credits, you need to take at least a year. In order for you to gain the economics understanding to graduate high school that is necessary for survival in the real world, you only need to take a semester, which is about half the time. Which, I'm just thinking of this off the cuff. Why the fuck would economics take a back seat to a second language in the country that you're currently residing in? Why the fuck would that ever be the case? Second of all, you go to school. You go to school to complete the work you need to do to learn about life, to prepare you for life. They give you homework to do at home after you're done with school. If school itself is meant to prepare you for life, why aren't you doing the work at school? Why do they feel the need to ascribe work for you to do at home? If there was a certain amount of homework you had to complete, or a certain amount of work that was left unfinished, shouldn't they just extend the extend the amount of time you're at school for another hour, and then you wouldn't have to do any homework? It should all be taken care of right then and fucking there. Excuse me, right then and fucking there in school, because that is what school is for. There shouldn't be a such thing as homework, because you shouldn't be doing the work at home, you should be doing the work at school. Do you understand what I'm saying here? They are purposefully giving you extra work to do at home because they don't want to pay to keep teachers there extra hours at the fucking school to teach kids what they need to know. And that in turn not only affects kids' studies habits, but their work ethic, their self-esteem, their psychological health. A lot of fucking countless issues I could bring to the table here because homework is assigned to people. You know what Finland has? An extremely well-equipped and well-developed and beautiful school system Finland has. They don't have homework. You know why? Because they expect their students to learn the lesson at the school that is meant to be learned that day. Not only that, but they're not as rejective as the American school system. They have specialized tutors and teachers' assistants that aren't other students, by the way. You know, that TA bullshit where like, oh yeah, a teacher has a student that's meant to keep track of other students. Good job there, buddy. You're really taking advantage of the hierarchy of authority when it comes to security of people's grades and whatnot. You have a student grading other students' papers. How the fuck can you trust them to do that adequately? I mean, some students are good, don't get me wrong. I strived to be one of the most well-behaved and good students I could possibly be when I was in elementary school and middle school and whatnot. I probably still wouldn't have trusted myself just based on the principle of integrity, that students shouldn't be responsible for other students' grades. That's fucking ridiculous. I mean, is that so hard to comprehend? Is that so hard to understand? Finland has 5 to 6 people in a classroom at a time to make sure no one falls behind, to make sure that student that's not quite getting it immediately gets the help they need, and the class doesn't move on until they fucking get it. And before you shout out, you ignorant fucking Americans, before you shout out, oh well, if you pay attention to every student individually too often, then you're gonna hold the entire class back, and then the smartest kids won't get the respect and the recognition they deserve. Well, guess what? Finland has higher state and national testing results than America does, and they have had higher state and national testing results than we've had for upwards of 10 years. I think maybe even beyond that. I haven't done the research, but probably even further beyond that. Because these... So, I mean, the evidence is there. The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the results. this other country who has taken a completely different approach to attempt to educate their students has had better results because I don't even think it's necessarily because of the curriculum, but because of the mental health of the students. I think just because they have a different approach to what education is in general. When you talk to any American kid, they think of school as a punishment. They think of school as a bad thing. They think of school as something they have to deal with. It's not something that's benefiting them in any way. And Finland is practically the opposite. They know the value of education before they start taking classes, because it's implemented into reality almost immediately, because their priorities are different. And if you try to say that our school system is working better, our test results are worse. Our mental health ultimately is better when it comes to coping with the school system in Finland than it is in America. I can't speak for other countries, but you know what I can say is that Finland definitely has a better school system than we fucking have. Just judging by by the evidence that is presented to us. So no, having supposedly quote-unquote harder tests isn't helping us at all. What we need to do is have tests and have a curriculum that is based upon actual life skills. We need to have a tax class. We need to have economics not just be one class that seniors need to take before they graduate. We need to have economics be implemented from either elementary or middle school, depending. We need to run the tests. We don't even know where to put those classes right now because we don't know how early we can understand that sort of concept. I think it could. Middle school might be ideal, but I think we could even understand that from elementary school. Just explain it in simpler terms. Like, how do you explain math to a kindergartner? You say, 1 apple plus another apple is 2 apples, blah 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 blah. You have methods to try to encapsulate more complex ideas into broader lessons so that these kids can understand what is being told to them. I think we need to do that. Why don't we have a car repair class? Everybody, vehicles are integral to our existence. They are integral to a job 95% of the time to function in human society. Why the fuck don't we have a driving or automobile-oriented class in school? Why the fuck isn't that the case? There's no excuse for that not being the case. I guess racial and cultural studies can be replaced with history, but only broadly. We're not learning what we need to learn about these cultures and whatnot through simple geography lessons. This is the basest and most minimal amount of information. Why aren't we learning how to lease a home? Why aren't we learning how to do our taxes, how to deal with financial situations that will become present in the future in life? Why aren't we learning how to job hunt? We should be learning how to find a job in middle school at the very least, how to send in an application. These are the classes which are necessary for survival and for functionality in society. And it's complete bullshit that school doesn't teach us this in America. We are held to a standard, a ridiculous standard at that. And as far as testing is concerned, it's based on memory. It rewards those with good memory and autistic kids who have a ridiculous amount of memory but no social skills. So it's creating this divergence in society that is perpetuating itself across all boards of people who are entering the working force and entering, mainstream society and communication in all kinds of different ways, creating a whole slew of problems. It's just fucking bullshit. And there's too much to mention here and now because there's too much detail to focus on, but this is what I'll say for now. Our system is flawed, obviously. We need a better one. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one until next time, and think about it. Try to change it. We need, my generation needs your generation's help. I'm like 24, and my generation is doing what they can politically to try to influence things, but we need the younger generation, like the teenagers of today, the memers, basically. You guys think that your ability to spread memes is a joke, but this is an ability that is able to reach people on a social level that is more widespread and spreads faster than any other idea that I have ever seen in my entire fucking life. It can't, I mean, you think of it as a joke, but, myself and my generation knows for a fact that this can be weaponized. It can be used for our benefit and in our favor. It can be used to benefit society. So you gotta do it, man. You've gotta try to influence politically what you can. And, fuck the school system. Fuck the system. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.